What's going on, world? Your man, Mr. Mac.
And I'm Crystal Event.
This is the M+M+M show, aka the show coming to you live and direct with a certified legend across all boards. This man checks all the boxes. If we start comparing interviews on shows, just know that by having this man on our show before you, we are killing you. It is not even fair. This is Jadakiss versus Dipset. This is Jadakiss versus Fab. It looks good, but it's not enough. We got him before you did. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and earths, I present to you, I can't even do that part. Playboy, could you please state your name so people know I'm not lying?
Asiatic. AZ.
What's up?
You know what it is. So we got a lot of AKAs.
How many AKAs you got?
No. We ain't even doing that. That's a that'll take half the show. We ain't even doing that. We ain't even. I'll let him do his top 3 favorite, but we ain't doing all of them.
That's it. The AZ, the Asiatic, and the Sosa. That's enough for me.
Dude.
Quiet Money AZ. IG.
And that too. And that's a beautiful one. That's the one we're going with too.
And you know what? I've never seen anyone live out their tag name more than you do. Your money has always been quiet, but it never seems to stop. You just pop up, fuck things up, and then skate off to a beach somewhere where you live for like the next 5 years till you're ready to do it again.
And that's how it's supposed to be, right? That's how it's supposed to be. In and out.
A lot of people forgot that.
Not in this
or never learned
era
that.
where like attention has become the new currency. Everybody needs to be, everybody feels like they need to be in everybody's face all the time. You are very much going against the grain with that.
I never got caught up in that for some reason. Real, like what I was taught, like real bad boys move in silence. Silence is gold. And these are things we learned when we was young. So that's how I always moved, even, before the cell phones and things of that nature and social media. When we were in the game in the 90s, I really wasn't everywhere. I think it's part of my character, honestly.
So today's movements, you looking at all of this stuff have to drive you crazy. You got dudes doing stick-ups on camera. They busting their guns on Instagram, and this got to be driving you nuts.
They don't know no better, I don't think, because it's impossible for you to know that the eye in the sky is watching and you're doing foolery. It's just impossible. So they don't know better, and they wasn't taught, I feel like, and I guess this is the new era right here.
I mean, let's say it's part of your character.
Jail. Say that again?
You said it's part of your character, though. Like,
it's a part of their character.
But did someone teach you? If they need to be taught, did someone teach you? How did you know that was the way?
Correct. The older guys from you gotta understand, me being born in the 70s, the 80s, you know what it was. The 80s was a crack era, and it had code of ethics, and you learn things from them eras. Being a young guy, you absorb things, and staying out the way was key. And you see who lasted the test of time and who didn't. You see who got caught up or who was in the mix too much and got laid out for whatever reason. And it taught you, as a young guy, it taught me just to fall back and really be observant from a distance, and always less said is best said. Do what you got to do, get in and out, and handle your business. So, I guess from the 80s, and then I carried that on to the 90s, and I guess when the 2000s hit, it just we lost that
pandemonium
connection. Yeah, we lost it, and things went pandemonium. You're right, and here we are.
But look. You see, I'm one of those dudes. I like to consider myself a real watch and learn style dude too. If you just observe the things that have worked for the people that they've worked for, you're a young dude in the game now. It almost feels like it's only a matter of time before you get locked up or arrested for something. Like it doesn't seem like it feels like when, like you're definitely gonna get locked up. Meanwhile, AZ shakes up the game, has been here for 15 plus years. And
25.
20. I'm still right, but I'm definitely off.
Right, you're right. I know. I be thinking about it. I said it out loud. I'm thinking about it. Like, wow.
20 plus years. Never got locked up. No TMZ. No, you know what I mean? Like no world star hip hop moments. Nothing embarrassing. No calls leaked. No DMs. Nothing. And that's like that's Derek Jeter level like that's God level movement. Derek Jeter did all the things he did around New York City. Anybody from New York has heard Derek Jeter stories, but no scandals, no babies, no like nothing wild. And he spazzed out into his 40s and then left baseball, and now he's an owner somewhere. You are basically doing your Derek Jeter out here in real life.
Right, that's crazy, and that's by the grace of the Most High, man. That's a blessing to be dug. Well, like I said, I try not to even get caught up with the norm that be going on, even from then to now. Still not, I try not to get caught up in the norm, and I guess that's what it's about. Honestly, that's what it's about.
I was gonna say, Mecca, you were saying that the young guys in the game now, that's like almost inevitable that they'll get in trouble. But I think this has been cyclical, because even from your initial era, right, AZ, it was guys getting locked up and shot and dying of a million different things. The young guys in the game, it's just the ones that made it through are the ones that weren't playing that.
Not like
they were actually like, there was the thinkers. There was the thinkers. Like you had the thinkers, you had the ones that was wilding out. So because back then, in the 80s, they had those that had knowledge of self. Though they was still, doing devilish things, but they had knowledge, and even some of them got caught up. But they'll make you think that was the way to go, But the young guys that was really in the mix at the time that wasn't listening or wasn't paying attention, it was a quicker departure. It was just like 16, 17, age, like, whoa, wait, what happened? Wrong place, wrong time,
And less publicized, because if they didn't make it to super fame and there was no Instagram, I think we just knew about a lot of it less, or it was less on Front Street.
I guess if it happened in a hood, the hood knew, that type of information traveled fast within the hood. But yeah, with social media now, it travels
national,
light.
International.
Yeah.
The last dude I saw, I hate that I'm even saying this, but the last dude I saw get shot happened because he was going live from his car. He was going live in his car from his phone, and the ops were following his live. They saw they recognized where he was, and they caught him. And
advertising on him whereabouts,
because he was telling everybody where he was sitting there, and he wasn't on point. You can't be on point when you're looking down at a phone like this. The world is up here. He was down here.
Right.
They got right up on him and like hit him right. They didn't do it from a distance. They walked up on the driver's side of the car. They got right in the window and let him have it a couple of times. His man who was on live with him had to watch him fade into black. And all I could think was, had you just put the phone down, like had you just had the conversation in the earpiece and just been on point, or just done it, but you needed to tell everybody where
quietly.
You were. Like for me, I think my new terminology, when I say quietly, I'm gonna say I'm AZ in here. Like that, I think that.
Oh wow.
It's a verb now.
Wow.
I think you're a verb now, bro. You got to be a verb. I'm just gonna say I'm AZ in here.
Wow, that's great.
Quiet, quiet but successful. I'm just gonna say I'm. Yeah. Oh, something we can announce on our show that this is actually pretty dope. So a very good friend of mine and a dude who sits with me on the Roundtable Councilman, putting together Busta Rhymes albums and stuff like that. One of my homeboys is a dude by the name of Ninth Wonder.
Right.
He put up a post the other day and contacted me and let me know that he is absolutely falling over himself and dying to do a 7-song joint with you.
Yeah, that hit the fan last night. I had to speak to Ninth for real. I spoke to him already, so we're gonna dialogue. But yeah, it was inevitable. After he put that out, I think I got 20 calls. You know what I mean? So yeah, I fuck with Ninth.
Yo,
I fuck with him. And people want to see it. So that's the crazy thing about it. I'm like, wow. Like people like, yo, you gotta do it. I want to see it. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So it gotta come.
Chris, can I speak for you? Do we want to see it? Like, can we put our hands up? AZ, 2 more people.
Wow.
So 9, 10, 11 people want to see it. We all want to see it.
Has it ever come up?
That's real.
I mean, is this a specific thing that people have asked for, or that it has been mentioned before?
Oh yeah. There's a couple of people that I look forward to doing it with, and Ninth was actually one of them. Like we kind of had dialogue before, but even with me kind of putting this album together, it was iffy because, you know, I've been wanting to put this Do or Die 2 out since, let's just say 2013, but it was just so much things was changing. The Sonics was changing, you know, the South added and the Midwest, and then this, it was that, and then it was a lot of things going on. And I was like, I was in the proper space, but for some reason, I didn't want to switch my style up, and then maybe I probably was going through personal things, I'm not sure, but it just came to fruition right now. Like right now was it was the time, and I wanted Ninth to really be on this album, because I know Ninth's work. I know his work already, but then it just started falling in place, and I kind of just got it done, and then he came out of nowhere with that. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get back at Ninth, you know what I mean, and make it happen. But we definitely dialogued before about it.
Okay, so he made it public, and now it's happening.
Wow, he did it in a great way. I appreciate what Ninth did. He dropped the nuclear. He dropped it. Everybody, yo, I got a lot of calls last night, and I'm like, my album coming out at 12. Why y'all calling me about this? And then I was like, wow, okay, let's go hand in hand.
Because we ready for the next. I think the reason why you get that, first of all, shout out to Ninth Wonder, the homie. The reason why you get stuff like that, is because I don't think people are ready to see you take another one of your hiatuses. I think we want to see you busy. I think people understand that folks like you, folks like Jada, folks like Nas, I think you vanguard a certain era and a certain criteria and a certain standard in hip hop.
Right.
And right now, the way things are going and the way the climate seems to be shifting back to lyrics, skill, et cetera, we need we need all the vanguards we can get. We need the soldiers in that fight. We need the dudes who are front line, and we can't afford to have Asiatic go quiet at a time where things are pivotal. Like we need you active, we need you busy, we need you to show people what 25 years looks like with a sharp pen. Did you see that joint, that LA Leakers joint that Common did the other day where he
that was me. Yeah, Common, correct.
That was hard.
I just saw it. He correct. He correct.
You see what I'm saying? You see, he's one of y'all. He's one of those.
Right. And I figure our era has been overlooked. Once again, how the Sonics is going now, I'm like, okay, they don't want to hear that. They just want energy. They don't really want, poetry. But now I see, like you said, it comes back around. That's facts.
We lost, and I'm gonna say this publicly, but I think it's true. After hearing that, Andre 3000 interview, it feels like we lost him. It feels like he's not coming back because of the Sonics have changed, and he feels like he's outdated. He feels like there's nothing he can say that the new generation is gonna love. But between
that's what he said. I didn't see that.
There's an interview out. Yeah, there's an interview floating right now where he said, it's hip hop.
I don't think it's brand new. I don't think it's a super new interview. It's
but it's floating. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah,
like
it came back around because of his verse.
Right. Like he did the verse with Kanye, but we haven't heard from him in so long. And if I remember other interviews where he was saying like his son didn't know who he was and his son didn't like his stuff, so he wasn't.
Oh wow.
He said hip hop, keyword hip. He said you can be hip, you can know what's hip, but the older you get, the farther you are from hip. From in his perspective.
But I think damn, I might need dialogue with him because I get it, but we have peers that follow us as well, and this is like not a diary that we write in, but this is like we the voice of those, not to say the voiceless, but those that can't really speak. Like we are the communicators of that. So I don't see it like that. I don't see
it's like, oral history.
I'm out there, I'm not hip. Yeah, it's just history that we it's like the Bible. We writing our scriptures. In my mind, right? This is our scriptures that gonna follow us for eternity. So I kind of get what he's saying, but I don't totally agree because it's not about being hip. It's about just keep on carrying on tradition at the end of the day.
And it matures.
Unless he feel like his pen ain't. I feel like that. Like my shit ain't writing right. Wait, all right, let me fall back. But I don't think that's the case with him because he's one of the greats.
It's not the case with you either.
I had second doubts too. I was like, is it? But but then once you get in your own zone, I think I locked in the zone. And it's like, if you gonna fuck with it or you're not. like fuck it, let me get to it. So to even get the love that I'm getting, like I'm like, wow, like even where I'm at, like, I was getting calls earlier and they're like, yo, you're on the chart, so number 2. I'm like, number 2 how? Like they're like, yo, that's what's going on. Keep pushing, you'll be number 1 for the day is out. And I'm like, wow. So it's people out there that's listening. They listening.
Yeah.
Lots of you don't know that though, God. You'll be knowing that, right? Being an
artist. That's because you're not. The only reason you don't know that. The only reason you don't know that is because you're not. It's not a matter of not
stuck on the phone
attention.
Checking likes.
What I mean,
because if you're not that person, then you're not.
But I don't even consider
reality.
I wouldn't consider likes because those are followers, not supporters, not fans. Like people who are followers ain't fans.
That's
true. Deep right there.
Beyonce got.
I like that.
Yeah, followers ain't fans, bro. Beyonce got hundreds of millions of people following her on Instagram, but she don't sell that many records. You dig what I mean? If everybody who was following her brought her a record, she'd be out selling Michael Jackson every time she come out. But
wow,
that's not how that works.
I gotta put that up. I gotta post that. That's deep. That's deep right there. I like that.
Dog, we could. Oh.
He's got bars.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I saw another one. So be careful. Know the difference between friends and close enemies. People that are in your circle or just, for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah, that's deep.
What leads
everybody
me
following fans. Yeah.
What leads me to believe that you don't know is because you're not having the same kind of conversations that I am. You're not around. There are certain folks who are initiated culturally. There are folks who are initiated business-wise, and then there are qualified opinions in both worlds. But when you have the kind of conversations that I'm having, and you learn to read the tea leaves a little closer. So you're an artist, and you know what I mean. You're also a pillar. I can understand how your circle would be very concentrated and very focused, and those folks in your unit are looking at the things that they've always been looking at because that's their world, that's their wheelhouse. But outside of that, reading the tea leaves, bro, like when I heard that Andre 3000 interview, if I could talk to him face to face, I would have been yelling at him so quick, bro. First,
he would have argued him down in the interview.
Yeah, like actually, like he wouldn't have got away with that with me. I'd have let him say it, but I'd have got right back at him. Like, first of all, show me the child that didn't want to be grown. Every kid wants to be grown, bro. Like we didn't want to stay kids when we were kids. We wanted to be grown. Everybody wants to be grown. The issue is we haven't shown them what grown-ups look like. We have very, very small, very few examples of what a 40-plus-year-old man in hip-hop or 40-plus-year-old woman in hip-hop looks like. Thriving, attractive, healthy, clear skin.
Right.
You think what I mean? Like doing well, doing good, living nice, not baggy and messed up. We don't show
#goals.
Thank you. We don't show that a lot.
No, that's real.
We don't show that a lot. We show them. Yeah. The example in most people's minds is, they're washed, they're fat, they're sloppy, they're, it's wrinkled, it's over, they bald, like all kinds of like.
Or we losing them.
Yeah, or they're dying. They're not living to see late 50s, 60s. Like they're just so with those examples, of course, it looks like the things that these people would have to say wouldn't hold any merit. But I'm about to get off my soapbox. Give me 2 more seconds. That I feel has always been an industry. I think that's more intentional than it looks. I think the industry steers the younger generation away from the older generation so they can keep the knowledge separate. So you don't learn from your elders. So you don't know that you're being jerked until you're the age of your big homies. Until you get there, now all of a sudden you realize you're being jerked. But if you could have had a conversation with AZ, if you could have had a conversation with Big Daddy Kane, if you could have had a conversation with Big L,
Mecca, because Mecca would have told you.
With me, then you'd see these things coming and you'd be that much further along. But because you've been taught that anybody over the age of 30 is washed and corny and whack and you don't have anything to learn from them, now you separate yourself. But where would we be as a people if we cut the griots off at the knees when we were old enough to hear the stories and understand them? If we decided everything they said was corny, of course we're not going to know what's coming next.
And
that's right.
Just to Ali, Mac always reminds us that other genres are allowed to get older, and hip hop is.
And that's crazy,
rock and roll. You can be 80 still rocking.
You can come out. You can come out at 40 plus in the rock game and thrive. Like thrive.
Country.
Wow.
Country music. You be 50 something. Get your big break. Boom. It's all you off to the races. Nobody says
that's
nothing.
Real.
Nobody says nothing.
That's some real shit.
Meanwhile, we get our like we get our stars.
What you think? Why though? Why is that?
Because it's intentional.
It's intentional. Yeah, it's separated. Yeah, you facts. You're right.
It's intentional. Right. It's not by mistake, yo, bro.
Hip hop also started as a showboating. Hip hop started right as like showboating, like I'm better than you. It was verbal,
competition.
Battling.
Yeah, it was always competition.
But it got popular when they decided to monetize it to
make it corporate. Yeah.
Right.
To white folks and to culturally appropriate a piece of it.
Right. To make the money.
So they want it to stay the same. They don't want it to grow.
What the thing is
exactly as it is in a package.
If okay, here's how I'll break this down. Let's say the three of us on this call are labels. Mm-hmm. AZ is Universal, I'm Interscope, you're like, Atlantic. We're big labels, right? The thing that we have in common is we want to make money. We're not cultural, we're corporate. We want to make the money. We want to get all the bread we can from the music industry, not the culture of hip hop. It's difficult for the three of us to find a talent and a longevity like AZ. It's difficult to find the talent and longevity of an Andre 3000 or a Nas or a Jay-Z or any of these other icons that we have. It's or a Common. Super difficult to find those guys. It's way easier for me to manufacture a little, what I call them, a little dude. Super easy for me to find those because there's not a lot of work that goes into the lyrics. There's not a lot of work that goes into the beats. And it's beneficial for me financially to make this thing popular and make this thing obsolete because I can't find it and I can't replicate it. And it's harder work. I could find it, but it's harder work for me to find another AZ. There's another one out there, but it's super difficult to find a generational talent. So what's more beneficial for me financially? Let me keep making more littles because I can get one of those. I can spit and hit one. I can burn them out in a year or two and then get another one fresh because they're easy to replicate. So if that's the case,
and why they don't get smart about their money because they're done before they realize that their contract was shit.
Right. I can jerk them like crazy contractually. Why can I do that? Because they can't sit, a little dude can't go sit with an AZ and soak up all the game and soak up all the knowledge and learn how to actually rhyme and all that other fly stuff because AZ is going to put it in his head, bro, watch out for that kind of contract you sign. Watch out for this. Right. Watch out for that. Yo, your man, that dude right there in your square, he going to get you locked up. He's loud. He's reckless. He's not paying attention. He's doing too much. Right. That dude's going to get you locked up. Master P having conversations with Kodak Black trying to tell him, yo, your contract is looking a little scary. Let me help you negotiate this. And Kodak Black turns around and goes, yo, I don't want nobody old around me. I don't want to be around nobody old. Wow. Massively disrespectful. So why should I help you with your business if you're this disrespectful? And what I'm saying is to sum it all up, the generational gap, we make it sound as if it's our own ignorance and it's our own arrogance and it's our own hubris. But I see it as way more intentional. I see it as being done on purpose to separate the generations so the younger generation doesn't know their worth.
Right, that's real. I agree with you.
Also, young and dumb sells.
That was well put. That was well put, brother.
Sometimes they let me out the house.
That was well put. And it's sad at the same time that and it's a consistency that go on, and it kind of, I've seen a Master P and the Kodak kind of thing, and once, Kodak is the leader of the young cats, and it kind of, once they see him take a stance, that's what they follow. So I kind of see how that happens. Yeah.
And if you're a grown man and you see what happened to Master P, your first thoughts is, I ain't trying to help nobody. Like they don't appreciate nothing. Like why am I helping? Like I'm already rich. I'm already on. Why do I need to help anybody? Screw these kids. Like fine, screw them. Like fuck them then. That's how they feel. Like they just gonna clown as soon as I try and help, and they don't like something I say. Little sensitive ass. Like fine.
It's like the take the dinner with Jay-Z conversation. Take the 500K, take the dinner with Jay-Z.
Right.
Supposedly the dinner with Jay-Z is supposed to give you game, but
I'm not even going to lie.
Who put that out there?
I don't even know how that thing got started.
Me neither.
If they're like, yo, this is my favorite one now. Actually, I was actually going to bring this up anyway. Listen, it goes, me at dinner with Jay-Z, me, silent, Jay-Z, silent, me, silent, Jay-Z, silent. So what's the J stand for? Jay goes, check, please.
Wow.
So what's
that's
the Z
crazy.
stand for?
I saw that meme. No, I personally, I answered that question online. I said I would take the money. What is it, 500K or dinner with Jay-Z?
No.
I would take the money because if I take 500K, Jay-Z is going to want to meet with me in 2 years. What I would do with the 500K, Jay would want to sit down with me when it was all.
But that's you though. The average guy want to take it and go buy some some clothes or some jewelry.
And that
tells more about them than Jay-Z.
But that dude, either one of those options are going to be wasted on him. The conversation with Jay or the money. Both of them.
The guy that would buy jewelry just wants a picture with Jay-Z anyway.
Right.
For the gram. For
that's real.
Right.
That's the real shit. Yeah.
I'm taking the money. $500,000 investment in my plans and my ideas. Jay is going to want to sit with me in 2 years. I'll be fine. I'll see him again.
That's facts, right?
Ouch.
That's facts.
How did you as someone who just got finished dealing with another a part 2 album, because we just did ELE 2, and for you to approach Do or Die to an album that's so, you know what I mean, like it's one of those albums, how did you approach not replicating it, but even approaching that brand again? Because that can be scary hours.
Well, I said this before, but when we signed contracts back then, you had 9 albums you had to fulfill. Back then we signed albums, it's like, you signed it, but you got 9 albums, and this is how much you're gonna get if you sell this much, or how you. So in my mind, that was frightening when I didn't even do the first album. Like, damn, 9 albums. But I see the money, let me sign, right? So fast forward, it's like, I put out albums since Do or Die, but to get to a certain level and a certain, time in your career, you're like, it's time to make everything 360 to me. I'm like, to put the sequel out, that means you accomplished a lot. You've seen a lot. You did a lot. And now let's show the mature side of when you first entered into a game, or when you're making that part 2. That was so much of a classic to people. Let's see if you still have that classic dialogue as one that knows now. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring it to a 360 and put the 2 out, and it's like I accomplished and fulfilled what frightened me when I first entered the game. 9 albums, I couldn't see that. Like, I'm like, okay, I can see him getting 2 albums. So you give me 3 albums, but I was like, that shit ain't getting there. But to be here now, I'm like, wow, I'm feeling better than ever. It's just like a great thing to me. So I was like, let me just show them a AZ that been through all the trials and tribulations, and not just the rewards of the game, but everything, and show them me and bear myself right now. And that's where, Do or Die 2 came from.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. You are in your car. I just want to point out, just for those that are just listening and can't see the YouTube at this moment, it's like office in a car. It's New York style. It's a lot of people run around and do their business in the car. Do you write in your car? Do you ever
love to write in my car, go by the water? I write really everywhere, but I love writing in the car, by the water. I write, sometimes just drive, listen to the music and just write in my head. And then when I get home, lay it down. But I was just moving around. I'm like, I gotta do this interview. I gotta pull over, But yeah, the car's a beautiful thing. This is the office on wheels. Yeah.
I was gonna say, when I was writing back in the day, I would get on the train. I know it's trains and planes. Trains, planes, and automobiles is where I always came up with my best ideas. Don't know why.
Oh wow, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, writing is nice in the car though.
I just wanted.
I'm a wild walker. I walked
A
from
while
can't write
walker?
it. You can't. Well, you walk, but you can't
Write and
write
walk?
and walk.
What, he's on the
How you
phone?
create?
What'll happen is the idea will come to me. I'll pull over to the side and jot it down on the phone, and then I keep moving. But if I get into a zone, that's why I'm late to a lot of things. Because if I start walking and I get an idea,
you have to lean up on a building and
I just get out the way. Let's move over to the side, and I just do this. But it's not as conducive as writing someplace where I'm like safe. Like I'll stop in the middle of the sidewalk, people bump into me. I've stopped in some neighborhoods that I probably shouldn't have stopped and stood in. Like I've had the corner boys approach me like, "Yo, you know what you doing?
Right?
You look like you want to stake out, like you want to look out.
Nah, I look like I'm invading their space. I look like I'm about to start making moves on their street, and they're like, "Yo, what you doing?" I'm no,
taking notes on their business like a Fed or something.
I've had to explain myself out of a couple of situations because I didn't stop too close the way they getting money.
Start jotting shit down, huh?
Yeah,
I got another question. Speaking of, keeping your money quiet but keeping it long, obviously. I met you years ago, right by a Jamaican restaurant Upper East Side, and in New York,
in Manhattan.
Yeah.
My family spot. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so I brought that up 100 times because I was like, hey, did you know?
Yes. Yes. That's the family business.
So, but you have hands in a lot of different stuff, and maybe you don't want to tell everybody what all of it is. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
That dog is going nuts.
Let me see the dog.
He's 6 months old. He's 6 months old with really sharp teeth, and he's about to tear this sweater into shreds.
He wants to play. I don't know what happened before now, but he was going.
He slept solid. And that's what happens. He's got all the energy in the world. He's gonna.
Yeah, he that dog needs a walk and a run and a jog and
Exactly. I was gonna say how outside of music, because that's part of growing older or wiser, is realizing that just doing shows and selling records isn't the only industry, isn't the only way to get money. So can you give any advice, insight into what you've chosen to?
Well, I'm a silent investor.
Sink your teeth into.
I'm a silent investor in things that I love, and I invest in people that I love. And right now, my biggest investment is, I've been independent, but I got liquor coming out that takes a lot. It's not as easy as people think. I put out a sneaker with Ewan, a classic sneaker, and it sold out in like 2 weeks. So now I'm designing my own sneaker. Get ready to put that out. I shot my own doc. I know a lot of these things sound simple, but it's very tedious and time consuming, and you're hiring people doing a lot. So
there's a lot of detail to it.
Also, when you're doing it instead of some big machine doing it.
And I'm doing all of this. The last 2 years, I've been doing all of this, and it sounds like a regular conversation, but when you taking a sneaker from scratch, you're doing taste testing from a liquor and designing the bottles. You're doing an album, and you're going through the producers and studios. You're doing a documentary, and it's following you around, and you're doing all this. It's a lot. So that's my greatest investment that I love right now, that I'm sure I'll get a great return on soon. And it's a love thing, I love it.
And this has been your pattern over the last 25 years, is to continuously invest in things?
Facts. That's facts. That's facts. Back then, when I first got in the game, I had an office on 23rd and 6th. And it didn't dawn on me that I was right in the center of everything. I was right in the center of everything, and I got an office, and I'm trying to shoot movies, and I'm doing albums. I was signing, God bless their $500,000. And I got artists. I'm like, wow, I just got in the game. It's 96, 97. I'm like, wow, that was a power move. So since then, I knew kind of what it took. But you go through the trials and tribulations, and you learn. These was all learning experiences. So now that I was able to get back on my bike, there's no mistakes right now. Not at all. Just no mistakes. No time for the wrong energy. And it's just focus, and it's just about leaving a legacy, and it's about, creating things and creating space for people that you want around to make certain moves. And that's the only mind space I'm in now. It's about winning and focus and just legacy. That's the only thing on my mind right now. So the only energy I can let around me at this particular time and moment.
Speaking of legacy and people, do you have children that is part of your legacy? What's your family life like at this point?
Yeah, I have two sons. Two sons. I think my oldest son wanted to get into music. I didn't want to steer him from that, but it's cool. It's just so many elements, but he found his own niche. My younger son, I don't know what he want to do now, but I'm gonna support him. And yeah, that's my life. My sons is my life.
Because I saw there's this book that I really like called Immortality. Not to get too deep into it, but the idea is that we all do die, but the only way to be immortal is to be remembered. So Beethoven is immortal. Jesus is immortal because we still talk about him.
Facts. So, that's why I feel like I'm immortal now, right?
Right.
I was told that too. Somebody said you are immortal now. You don't put music out, it will outlive you. I'm like, wow, I got to put more great work out there because that's what's gonna follow me. That's my legacy there.
That is the goal. That is 100% almost a direct quote of what we said. What I said to Busta Rhymes for the last album. The album we did together. I was like, yo, it's crazy that this is going to outlive us. This music here, like this thing that we put together, we spent all these hours on, is now going to outlive all of us. This is going to go further than the rest of us will. Like,
I get the imagery of that Wu-Tang album that was never supposed to be leaked. The one guy is supposed to get. That's what it reminds me of. It's like your music is going to be in a tomb, like some, King Tut and the Great Pyramids of Giza. Somebody's going to discover. I think
every great artist should do that, though. Every great artist should make one album nobody never hears, and just put it somewhere in a safe.
I vehemently disagree.
Or just keep stuff.
I want to hear now. Let it go. I gotta hear this one. Why you do that?
I vehemently disagree. I couldn't disagree with you stronger.
Tell me why. I need to hear this.
Because, especially since you said every great artist, right?
Right.
I think number one, the goal of having a gift is to give it away. It doesn't belong to you anymore. Once you have a thought, once you have something that's worth sharing, it's your goal as an artist. It's your goal to give your gift away. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be paid for it. Of course, you should be compensated for the work that you put in. You should be able to make a living from your art. But I always believe that the goal of art is to give it away. The goal of an artist is to give your gift away. I think making one great album and never letting anybody hear it is the antithesis of what you're meant to do.
What's the purpose of a time capsule? Do you have any? What's the purpose of time capsule?
Yeah. It's
the same thing. So if your mind is a manufacturing base, we didn't say what is considered great. We said make an album, store that, continuously make albums, and it's just like making money and putting it in the bank. So once you pass on, you can pass that money on to the family. So as far as to the peoples, if everybody makes all great artists make an album, we don't know what kind of album, make an album, put it in the safe, continue making music, and then once you depart, in your will, you can pass it down, you can pass it down, or it can be released. I think that is the same as put money.
I can't stand when they go back through, like, anybody that's passed away and find their old stuff that they, for whatever reason, did not put out. I feel like it's almost, we're curious.
I'm talking about purposely put out. I know, but it's done purposely.
Right. No, that's my point, is that when they do it and it's not on purpose, those artists didn't necessarily want to put that out ever. Some of their, throwaways or whatever.
Sound right. They put it together. People put it together wrong. They don't do it with expertise. But imagine if an artist
old
put it
Tupac,
together
old Prince, but they chose not to put those out for whatever reason. Maybe they weren't happy with that work, but we're just so thirsty for the. So if we were so thirsty and we got one posthumous album,
that'd be a blessing, right? That's just deep.
Because that album. First of all, and this is gonna. I hate to get morbid here, but first of all, Chris,
let's go.
You and I would be passed away by the time this thing came out. By the time it comes out, we'll be gone. So we won't get to hear it.
About?
Yes.
No.
But other generations will get to. Because it's capturing the time and moment.
They get to have it anyway. They're gonna get it anyway. Like, okay. Here's where your analogy goes left with me. The whole purpose of a time capsule, the entire purpose of a time capsule, most of the things, everything that went into the time capsule were things that these people had already experienced. They just wanted to give them to somebody else, and then they would open the time capsule up 20, 30 years into the future when they were old, where they were grown, and then you get nostalgia. You get to see where you were at that time in your life. What you're talking about doing is taking this brilliant piece of art and locking it away from
sending it down the river
to
a whole nother generation,
right? And sending it to another generation, 2-3 down. And while that may be noble for them, for us who are here now, who want to enjoy this now, you
Echo feels shortchanged by the album that you haven't even made.
We get jerked. Yes, we get jerked because we didn't outlive you long enough to hear it.
Oh, you can't think like that. It's being purposely made for that purpose. But in the meantime, the artist's still making music. You get it? It's just, I don't know. It's just to me, because I'm tired of, some artists pass and then you're right. They put music together and just throw it out. And it'd be music that the artist probably didn't want to put out. So imagine if it's something that an artist want to put out and it's designed just for that.
And if they die early, untimely, like a lot of our artists have, we're still very much alive. The fan base, the fan level, the age group that's very much fan. And if you live to a ripe old age, you don't want
to hear that shit.
And if they live to a ripe old age, we'll put out all the music that our generation age group needs. And it's
I am not wishing death on some of our finest artists so I can hear their album. Like, I'm not
wait, AZ, they might start offing people to hear the new that.
That'd be fucked up. Now that'll be foul. You right.
All right, so it just went left.
Like
it just went left right there. It just went left. Yeah, it went left. Yeah, you're right.
You and Nas do an album together that the world has been waiting to hear, produced by Premier and fucking Just Blaze only and Ninth Wonder. Like y'all do the ultimate album, and then you're gonna put that shit away and talk about to be released upon the death of Nas and myself. Yeah, somebody gonna knock you off. Like, no.
Yeah, right.
Like, I know how to get the album. Pow pow.
Yeah, that's real though. That's some crazy shit. You're right.
Yeah, I gotta wait till I'm possibly deaf, dumb, and blind and senile for this album to come out. Like, no way.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's how we feel about a lot of people when they're on hiatus anyway.
That's real. That's real.
Like, I'm getting too old for this and put it out.
That's real shit.
Now, I want to hear it in the club, but I don't want to be too old for the club.
Now, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. Hey. The idea of like a final funeral album does intrigue me. Like something that comes out in your will, that last piece of work, that's your final opus. Hold on one second. Just because you sparked this thought. We do have a lot of artists who, after they pass away, they go into their archives, they go into their hard drives, and they find a bunch of music, and the artist never put it out. Could be completed projects, whatever, and it never came. It never came to light. But imagine if Prince had made his final album, or he made an album that he decided was going to be his final piece of work to be released upon the day that he, 2 weeks after he passes, this album needs to come out and it's released to everywhere. It's for free, or his family controls it, but they have to release it. They have to put it out. Imagine if all the greats had done that. Like Biggie has an album in the stash that his will says has to be released when he's gone.
Wow.
That something like that, I can respect and understand, but the idea of making something super dope and then you can't release it for 30, 40 years, like that just blows my heart. But
or at least a list in the will, a list of the songs that you do want to come out from your archives.
Yeah, like no,
I marked on my hard drive with a star that you can put out.
Like if Whitney Houston had put an album together and said, "Yo, when I'm gone, this is how." Okay, here we go. And this is me with my marketing hat on. Here we go. It's the album that you want people to remember you by. And you make that album, right? It doesn't have to be the next thing you release, but in your mindset, every artist who's making this album goes into the studio with the mindset that when I'm gone, this is how I want people to remember me for the rest of eternity. This will be my landmark. Say what?
Isn't that all albums?
No.
As you make an album, you want people to be remembered for it, right?
That's you speaking for you. Most artists especially in the rap game, are not making music with that in mind. They're making music to come up. They're making music to get on. They're putting out what they think is going to sell. But I'm talking about if on the day that you pass, right? No, but they don't think about that till later on. That's why you see a lot. But I'm thinking about if 50 Cent.
Now we're back, but we're still back to people getting offed for this album to come out.
No, because A put it very specifically. He said you keep making music in between. You keep making music in the meantime. You don't announce this album. You don't announce this album. You don't tell anybody that you did it. But you go into the studio with the mindset that when I'm gone, when I'm dead and gone, this is how I want people to remember me.
Mm-hmm. Yo, not to cut y'all off, this conversation is gonna spark a lot because a lot of artists gonna put that in their brain now. They're gonna take this idea and do it because I think it's a genius idea because a lot of timely, untimely deaths and people just throw people music out. People gonna be like, we learn from other people's mistakes to an extent or things that happen. It's not a mistake, but things that happen. This is how things elevate. Like, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do for me because I want to be represented the right way. Because I know I got a bunch of songs in the archive that I don't want to be heard. And I see people taking them songs and it wasn't, something was off with the song. That's why I didn't use it. So now you're just gonna put it out. Nah, I'm gonna put this in the cut. And it's a financial tool for the family if you want to be technical. So it's like leaving a treasure behind to be technical.
Sure.
And I'm sure a lot of artists already doing it, but we talking about it now. It's a mandatory thing, and I bet you the seed get planted right now from this conversation.
Now a lot of artists ain't doing it. They're gonna start doing it now that I said something, but they ain't doing it. They ain't doing it.
Now we had a conversation. They hear this. I'll put my life on it that we hear this at every artist because they know that's what happens. That's what carries on the tradition. Anyway, for every artist that had an untimely death, an album came out after, and man, oh man, right? Mm-hmm. But for some, probably it wasn't the representation that they wanted, but it was done. It was so. Now that us as artists, we grown and we seeing the effects of what's going on in society, with not just with being in the streets, with anything, with this COVID, with all kinds. Yo, man, I gotta leave a piece of legacy. This for the family. Those that think wisely, you know. Right. So I'm sure that's gonna happen.
Most of us don't get to pick when we go, and we don't see it coming.
You don't pick. But we prepare. That's why some people write wills, and some people got wills, some people don't. Some people got living wills, some people don't. I don't understand it, but it depends on the mindset. And it's like those that was getting mummified. They knew that we will be found again, and that's what mummification was for, to preserve for eternity, to always be here in existence. So it's the same thing. So we think like that, our music is the same. So
you leave behind like the artwork, the photos,
everything.
You get to curate the whole thing.
Yeah, you put the whole thing together.
And it's just there. Man, I think that's a G. And not just for rap, but I'm talking about for all artists. For all artists. We talking about
all the greats. All the greats should do it.
Different genres. Let's talk
all
jazz.
The greats. Like imagine you leave behind like your final. You leave one of these behind with everything on it, videos, photos, all the good stuff. And this is your final representation on Earth. So when you go, this is how people remember you. Not some thrown together, piece of junk that they scraped up because they was trying to make money off you. This final thing that you left behind. Now that I can see. Not time capsule where you just selfishly stash some music away from your fans and we don't get to hear it till like
everybody's sitting around scratching for it.
Yeah, not that. But if people, I think about the greats who left us too soon.
Right.
Like had they had that last piece of product, and I'm talking about the greats. I mean, Biggie, Big L, Big Pun, Prince, Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, like had those people just said, okay, here's the last album I ever want to be released from me. Here's what I want it to look like, sound like. Here's what I want it to be. Here's all the photos you can use. This is it. This is my final joint. And this is what it should look like.
And it's dated. And it's dated. You know, kind of what? You get some dated wine from 16, so you know what the
value? Yeah.
But
if it's dated,
you gotta go into the studio knowing that this is your final representation, like knowing that this is what you want it to look like at the very end. That doesn't mean you're just gonna seal it in concrete and then do it. Like you may retouch it every couple of years because you may grow, you may, something different may happen. You may take a song out, put another song in. but like it should be.
It's like adjusting your
something
memoir.
You build.
If you were an
yes,
author.
it's like a memoir, but it's like
it's
an
not over
audible
yet
memoir.
until it's
right. You should still be adding on. Like, okay, if I made my final album when I was 30, and then I had a kid at 33, there's gonna be another song in there. You know what I mean? But if I live to see the kid graduate, you know, college, and then I'm a grandfather or something like that, okay, there's another song coming in.
There's gonna be some tweaks. We just initiate now. We sparking it. So it'll be little tweaks here and there that you're saying, but back.
Our whole theory is gonna grow.
Right. There we go.
Yo,
the minds.
This has been a great conversation.
Amen.
We could literally keep this going all day. But we only got a certain amount of time. Brother, please tell everybody where to find you, what the name of the project is, all that good stuff. Plug all the plugs.
Door.2 is out right now. Quad Money AZ is all my handles on Instagram and Twitter and so forth, so on. The website is Quad Money Direct. There's so much more to come. The album is great. I love the energy. I love the feedback, and there's so much more to come. So Door.2 will snatch it up.
Nice. You heard the guy speak, and you're in a privileged position to learn a couple of things. I hope you are paying attention. In the meantime, in between time, I'm your man, Mr. Mech.
And I'm Crystal Levin.
This has been the M+M+M show, aka the show. May you live as long as you want and never want as long as you live. Do us all a favor. Go get laid. Peace.
Listen to the album.